trustees to order. As you'll notice that I am sitting in the chairman's seat tonight because our chairman, Linda Wooten, she fell ill earlier today, so she's not going to be able to make it. So I'm going to fill in for her tonight the best I can. The first item on our agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance. And tonight we have with us students from Airport High School. The invocation is going to be led by Brantley Jordan Hill. Brantley is a senior at Airport where she has a 4.931 GPA and is ranked 5th in her class. She's been a part of the volleyball program for 4 years and has been a member of the Beta Club for 3. She's been a member of the National Honor Society for 2 years and is currently serving as their president. Brantley has helped to raise $5,000 for the Lexington Medical Center Foundation to support breast cancer. She's a diligent worker in her church. She visits the elderly and assists with canned food drive for their pantry to help needy families in our community. Brantley has been accepted to the University of South Carolina to study pharmaceutical sciences. Then she plans to go to the School of Pharmacy to fulfill her dream of becoming a pharmacist. Tonight leading the pledge will be Elizabeth Bailey Carter. Bailey is a senior at Airport High School where she has a 5.096 GPA and is currently ranked 2nd in her class. She's a member of the Beta Club, the B27 Club, and the Tri-M Music Honor Society. She's a member of the National Honor Society and is currently serving as their secretary. Bailey has been a member of the Airport High School Eagle Marching Band for 4 years, and she has studied piano for over 10. She volunteers in the children's program at her church and is a vital member of the girls' ministry program at her church. Bailey plans to attend Clemson University in the fall and major in elementary education. So with that, let's welcome Brantley first to lead the invocation, and Bailey as soon as she finishes to lead us in the pledge.
Dear God, thank you for providing this wonderful day you have made and for allowing this meeting to take place. With all the unseen dedication each Lexington 2 employee goes through, whether it be from a teacher, admin, counselor, or board member, God provide them with guidance to do what's best for the students. Also, the district personnel and the superintendent take the time to go above expectations to create a positive outlook on the school environment and community. So God, let their outstanding commitment be seen and heard of to make them feel appreciated. During this meeting, God, I ask that you give each member and superintendent your thoughts and direction to guide them to the best resolutions for Lexington 2. Thank you for all you do and continue to do. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Do that job. Next item on our agenda is consent agenda. Without objection, the consent agenda with the amended minutes that was sent out will stand approved. Next is public participation period. We have no one signed up. Okay. Next is report on honors and accomplishments of students and staff. Dr. James.
Yes, sir. I'd like to recognize the Airport High School baseball team. I've got Coach Perry coming in. Coach, I'm going to let you introduce your guys. The Airport won the Nature Team Invitational on Sunday, March the 4th. And in doing so, they had to beat Belton, Honey Path, Sumter, Riverside, and ultimately River Bluff. Say the least. Say the least, the guys did extremely well in defeating those pretty good baseball teams all in one Sunday afternoon. It was a 12-team tournament that they actually won, and Tyler Corbett opened it up with a home run, a leadoff home run right out of the gate. So that's about as good a way to open a baseball game as you can. But Coach, go introduce your guys. We're glad to have them here, and congratulations on your win.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Guys, with us, we've got senior Tyler Corbett. Tyler was the most outstanding player of the tournament. Senior Will Shumpert, junior Justin McGee, junior Sims Owens, senior Brett Davila, junior Dalton Mims, junior Brandon Kaufman, sophomore Sam LaFrage, senior Bailey White, junior Colby Key, sophomore Parker Whittle, senior Alan Farmer, sophomore Cam Beckham, senior Justin Allen, and sophomore Bradley Burnham.
Additionally, Dr. Evans is not here, but everybody, I think, within the boundaries of Lexington too has heard about this Fancy Ed visit. We're going to give you just a little snippet in just a little bit. It was a rousing success, no doubt about it, but we would be remiss not to recognize Marcella and all the folks out of the curriculum and instruction department. They did an outstanding job in preparing for that visit. The people who came, we had one lady from Florida, one from Wyoming, one from Minnesota. They were all complimentary. The overall consensus is that they had not been anywhere as a group that was as well prepared. So even though Marcella isn't here, there's a whole bunch of folks out of the curriculum instruction department. You made my life a lot simpler, but from the board and the community, I would like to say we appreciate everything that they've done in making this a success. So, thank you. Back for a long, long time. That's probably our last. Thank you very much, Mr. Bingham, that's all.
Thank you, Dr. James. Next on our agenda is unfinished business, which is the consideration of the 2018-19 calendar proposal. Dr. James.
Yes, sir. We gave you all 2 calendars, and we are a little bit late in the course of our year from what we would normally give you calendars. We have been waiting for a piece of legislation that seems to have held up in committee, hoping that we were going to be able to start a week earlier. As you're aware, right now South Carolina law, we can't begin before the 3rd Monday in August. We thought that might change to the 2nd Monday. It has not as of yet. We've prepared 2 calendars. The significant difference is one calendar, the school year ends on June 5th for students, and that's because we have 3 weather makeup days that are unrelated to any holiday or any other day, and then teachers would get out on the 7th of June. The other calendar, students end on the 31st of May. Weather makeup days are on regular scheduled holidays, so if we had bad weather and had to make up 3 days, we would make them up on those days. We sent this out to the staff in all schools. The recommendation from the staff by almost a 2-to-1 vote is for calendar B. But we want to bring the board up to speed, and I think we've covered everything on this that the board had asked about.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve calendar B as chosen by the staff.
No, second.
We have a motion by Ms. Branham and a second by Mr. Key to approve calendar B as recommended by staff. Open for discussion.
Dr. James, have we gotten any updates from anybody in the legislature that they may move forward on allowing us to move that date forward?
Right now, we have not. We have a calendar, as you all know, that's based on beginning a week earlier, which would be in my mind, an ideal calendar because it puts the weather makeup days on the independent days, and we still get out in May. That week is vital to us, and being able to get started before the third Monday. Now, the good thing is this is the latest it will ever be because it is on the third Monday, but being the latest that it ever is, it kind of messes up our calendar. We had hoped that, really and truly, we hoped that beyond the legislation of being able to do the second Monday, we would get the General Assembly to say each district had the authority to do their own. Everybody knows we're held hostage by Horry County. That's it. But no, sir, I don't. But we have a calendar that's designed around that.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Being no further discussion, all those in favor of calendar B signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is, on our agenda is new business. First item is consideration of resolution to issue annual 8% debt. Ms. Richardson.
Yes, this is our annual bond issue for our CPIF and the payments on our installment purchase revenue bonds, not to exceed $10 million. We'll issue these in July for our summer projects and for those, the debt that's coming up. The administration recommends approval of the resolution. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm open for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the recommendation of administration to issue the 8% annual debt.
All right, we have a motion of a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Kessler. Open for discussion. Anybody have any questions? Being none, all those in favor of the resolution to issue annual 8% debt signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is consideration of colors for the Springdale Elementary School new addition.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. James will have with us tonight from Blue Design. James Goodlight and Pierre Henwood, who are going to be presenting information for you on colors for the new addition at Springdale Elementary.
James, members of the board, thank you for giving us a few minutes to speak with you tonight. You've seen the colors previously that were looked at and approved. I'm going to turn it over to Pierre to let him talk about the floor tile patterns. That's really what we have to show you tonight is the dining area and the administration area. So Pierre, go ahead and you will just share with them what we got.
Hi. We met with Don and Hope. Get the last name wrong, I'm sorry. The principal, and to talk about the floor tile pattern, and Hope expressed a desire to have a darker floor tile in the cafeteria so it hid any scuff marks better than the white that's throughout the rest of the school. So we've selected a bluish slate grey tile, and then we discussed having a more random pattern in there so that it allowed more flexibility with the furniture layout for both tables for dining and chairs when you have a performance on the stage. The stage will have a maple plank, vinyl plank, just like is in a lot of your other stages in other cafeterias and schools, and with rubber steel treads going down to the floor. We have included a border in the cafeteria, so it ties back to the border that goes throughout the rest of the school. And then we have followed on in the administration by also doing a series of random dots, just so again it gives the school more flexibility to how they can do furniture layouts within that space if they would like. They're not restricted to how they can use the space.
I know it's a little odd to kind of see it this way. It's a little hard to represent, but the idea is to have some random pieces, as Peter's saying, really just to break up the mass of these really big floors. And if you do anything that's too geometric, as soon as you move the furniture and do something a little different, it can look a little odd and unplanned. So pretty often that we'll do, we'll scattering of color just to break up the mass. That's really what we're presenting.
Since this is different, we wanted to bring it to you before we gave final approval. So
This is what the administration is recommending.
we wanted to bring it to you for consideration.
Is Hope,
Yes, I'm right here. Yes. Yeah, that's, what Pierre said is what we had discussed. And because the creamish white tile throughout the school, we just have such a difficult time keeping that looking lustrous and clean. We felt like in the cafeteria, just due to the high traffic and all of the feet in and out of there, we recommended or would like to go with a more gray tile, something to not be so light with just a scattering of the blue. So we had discussed all of this.
So you want this? You want this? Is the question.
Well, in the picture that you have up there, it's a little difficult to follow, Pierre, from what we had discussed.
Yeah.
In kind of that scatter plot, but what we had discussed on the panel that you're showing to the board in the front.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It just doesn't project very well on the screen. You got to sort of look at it in more closer detail like we did. Yes.
Is it a numbers reason why we're not looking at terrazzo on them two areas there?
There's no terrazzo anywhere else in the school that I'm aware of.
But the other ones are getting them in the more cafeteria and commons area.
In the
But
new
this would be more
schools,
VCT.
in the new schools, that's what we're doing. In the existing schools, we're pretty well trying to match.
That doesn't match.
The random, I'll just be straight up, the random pattern concerned me a little, and that's why I wanted to bring it. Normally, we would not have brought it to you. But, I know I've been in this long enough to know that different folks like different things. They're the design professionals, and I did not feel comfortable just saying that I wanted to do something different without giving you all a chance for input.
I'm old school, and I just can't see this in a building that's going to be there for 50 years.
And I think the idea here is that there are multiple colors throughout the building, a splattering of yellow and green and blue and various things. And your idea is to bring all those colors into the cafeteria, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, no, we've just gone with blue here because Hope was concerned if we brought all the colours in, the space became too busy.
Okay.
And so we've just tried to stay with the blue because...
So we just tried to stay with, since Springdale Dolphins is the blue color. As far as the scattering of the blue, I'm not as concerned with that we just weren't crazy about all of those primary colors coming into that one location. So, we went ahead and said the blue because it is the school color. And we said the gray tile for the base because we felt like logistically, with such a high traffic area, it would just hold up better. As far as where that blue is strategically placed in groupings or scattered, or that doesn't, I'm not as focused in on that. Just that bringing all of those colors into that one area seemed like a lot, in my opinion.
Is this a choice that we need to make tonight? Or can we wait another? Looking at the schedule, do we need to know a full color and pattern tonight?
We do need to make the decision pretty soon. I guess the question is whether or not you're willing to go with this random pattern, or if you want something that's more traditional.
I'd like to see something different.
More traditional.
I agree with the colors.
I
That's
don't
not
mind
my
the
problem.
colors either. The gray
Not a
makes
problem.
sense. The random pattern, I think, is kind of what's throwing me off too.
So you
gray,
come up with a
I think,
random
makes sense. The
pattern.
blue makes sense.
A more traditional pattern you can come up with. Yes.
So the colors are good.
We can do that very quickly.
Could we consider this in 2 weeks?
At the workshop,
Yeah. Yeah, we have a workshop on March 29th.
absolutely.
maybe we see a traditional next to this, that might help us. But I like the gray, I'm with you on the gray.
Colors are fine.
I just don't know if I like the,
Do we have a sample of the gray and blue, or we're really not looking at the color?
This is gray, this is
Pierre, what would a traditional pattern resemble?
depends. We could look at several different options and just review them with you and Don next Wednesday's meeting.
We'll come up with something real quickly, show it to you and
I mean,
Don.
for what it's worth.
We can do that quickly. A more traditional pattern would be more geometric and evenly spaced.
Yes.
You know, that random kind of reminds me of chromosomes and
Okay.
little pieces of the microfive things or whatever. They could do random where you sort of have one square, but they're much more sparse and more random.
Well, you have your roof design. You can certainly do a random pattern involving your exterior design and coordinate those two colors together since you've got the terrazzo. There's lots of ways you can get a pattern in there or random pattern.
We'll come back with a few options on that. But at least we know the colors are good, the border around is good, and we can very quickly come up with other options for the actual spacing.
or a big mural kind of like looking thing in the middle is their symbol, something like that.
Big old Doolittle Ritter right in the middle. All right, okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, we
So
also,
we don't need any action to actually vote on colors.
I don't think so. I think we're good on the colors, it's just, I had some concerns about that.
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is consideration of playground buddy benches. So everybody's going to want to pay close attention here, is we've got Little Miss South Carolina coming forward, and Dr. James, I'm going to let you.
This is a unique moment. Sarah Catherine Cantrell. Sarah Catherine is a fourth grader at Springdale, and you can see with the crown there that she is Little Miss South Carolina, United States. And her platform, she's got a big platform for such a little girl, is Be the Difference, which is admirable. She would like to approach the board to talk to about placing buddy benches in the schools in Lexington too, the elementary schools. Once you hear about the concept of buddy bench, you will understand her idea of being the difference. So, Sarah Catherine, floor is yours. Welcome.
The bench is a way to bring kids together and make new friends. I know I get busy playing with my friends and do not always notice other kids do not have anyone to play with. This is a great tool in helping me, my friends, and teachers see who needs a friend that day. This bench will help us make buddies, not bullies, and build character that will carry along in middle school and high school. Thank you.
Sarah Catherine's idea of benches is so that children can sit with each other and share and talk. And you have something else you'd like to say?
I can ask Sarah Catherine, I talked to her before. Sarah Catherine, if I came to your school and I walked over and sat on that bench, what would happen to me?
Some kids would come over and say, "Would you like to play with us?"
It's a great concept. I've seen it in other schools. In fact, there's a company here locally that's making them now for some schools. Pegan's got it, and a couple of schools. It is a great concept that schools are really starting to pick up. But it's a great idea that Sarah Catherine's brought to us tonight.
First of all, I want to commend you. being a fourth grader and having that much wisdom, I think that Lexington too is doing extremely well. The other thing is, I'd like to make a recommendation to the board that they ask Mr. Eisenhower to find enough money to fund Sarah Catherine's buddy.
She's taking care of that.
You can't be free.
She has sponsors, if I'm not mistaken, you have sponsors that are willing to pay for these at each school. So really what we'd like for you to do is just approve that there's an opportunity for her to work with the principal to determine the best location for the buddy bench, and let's allow her to pursue
So
this
there's
project.
nothing better than a princess with something free.
With that, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Sarah Catherine Cantrell's idea of having buddy benches installed at all of our schools.
We have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Kessler. Any discussion, any more questions for?
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor of the buddy bench proposal, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chair, next item on the agenda for us is the access control, and we'd like to get approval to start installing at Northside Middle School, Congaree Elementary School, Seawick Wood Early Childhood Center, and also at Davis Elementary. And we would like to award this contract to the vendor that's already working with us in the district, A3 Communications, in the amount of $186,836.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the administration recommending awarding A3 Communications to contract and install access controls to the mentioned schools.
In the amount of $186,836.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones.
And I do have a question.
Question by Ms. Brown.
So is this like an RFQ process thing? I just want to make sure we're in compliance with.
Yes, we went through all of that process several months ago, and A3 Communications has been doing this. They've already installed at Casey Elementary, they're installing at Riverbank.
So it's just a continuation of what
It's
we've
a
already.
continuation of what we've already started. What we've done
That's what I wasn't clear about.
is we have one, I guess, set of hardware that we're installing at new schools, and we have another set of hardware that we're using that's wireless and battery operated at the existing schools that allows us to basically lock down those schools within 2 seconds. And the only people that can gain access at any time after the school it takes up for normal school would be through a card or by gaining access, talking to someone through an A phone inside, and someone basically granting them permission to come inside by unlocking the door.
So these are going to be the same system throughout the district? We're not using different vendors, different systems other than?
It's a different lock set. What we're putting on at new schools is basically an Oslo Sargent product. What we're putting at the schools that are existing schools is an Allegiant product, but the same cars work on all of them. The software is
The
the same.
software's the same? Okay, thank you.
So we'll be district-wide.
We are putting them district-wide. This will get, I think, all of our schools that won't be getting construction. We'll be coming back with you with Airport, BC High School, Fulmer, and I think that pretty well gets us.
When they are making these card accesses, because of obviously the issues we've had with security in schools coming into question, do they have, if they hold open the door, is that feature, I mean, I know you gotta have a card to swipe it, but if somebody blocks the door open, is it gonna set off something to tell them they didn't?
It has that capability on.
I know most of them have it, but a lot of times they don't hook that part up.
It would just be the ones that have these locks, and we're not putting them on every door. We can't afford to do that. It's just basically the doors that teachers would normally prop open, or high-traffic doors that we're putting these on so that people don't put rocks in the door and prop them open.
Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Also, Mr. Chair,
Consideration of demolition of vacated building.
I spoke to you guys at the last meeting about the idea that we would like to start with demolition of some of our schools when they're vacated. And we would like to identify an architect, or we would like to request an architect to help us to design those demolition plans. We already have Jumper Carter Cease on contract with some other projects. We would like to go ahead and name Jumper Carter Cease as the firm that will create these demolition plans for us. And in fact, I would like to go ahead and release him to do the Granby building at this point in time, and with the plans that we would tear down everything except for the last addition, which is the gym, 2 classrooms, and some group restrooms. We'd like to salvage that portion of the building with the thoughts that at some point in time we may use that property for something like transportation.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we support the administration's recommendation by awarding the contract to Jumper Carter Cease to create the demolition plan for selected locations starting with Busby and in the years ahead with the other ones.
Starting with Granby.
Starting with Granby, yes.
Old Busby.
The old Busby. Old Busby.
And we've negotiated a special percentage on this of 5.75%.
We got a second by Mr. Key. Any discussion?
I've just got a question, Don, just from an education standpoint. Help me understand what kind of designs we need for demolition. Obviously, I know if we have an existing building that we're keeping the portion, but if we're tearing the entire building down, what kind of design aspects do we have other than calling people and say tear it down?
There's a good bit to it. Todd, are you here? We want to answer that question?
Well, I think, Brad, it's basically just documenting exactly what you'll be tearing down. So noting that footings, underground piping, defining the square footage, the height. So it's basically just
bid documents, for the most part.
Bid documents.
Asbestos.
So that you can verify that all of you bidders are bidding the same information.
So you would be creating basically the plan with the entire scope of what's coming down and what that person's responsible for, that kind of thing. So when they tear it down, they have something to say, you're supposed to do this, 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 and this.
Along with a set of specifications that clearly, defines that scope of work.
I'm assuming there's permitting and stuff that has to go along with that as well, that you guys will be part of that, is that?
Right.
Okay.
I would assume, Todd, that you would also have the asbestos abatement plans that have to go along with any of that demolition.
Correct. That'd be part of the demolition package.
Todd, also part of your package be designing the secured wall where the demolition is, how we're gonna make it more attractive.
Right.
On
the portion that
what we say.
Right.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recuse.
All right, next is consideration of former middle school personnel travel for school to watch.
Yes, sir. Our board policy has a provision in it that I don't know that it's come up lately, but anyway, the provision is if we have travel that comes out of general fund monies for out-of-state travel, that has to have board approval. extremely successful. They are a national school to watch. They are traveling to Washington, D.C. to accept an award for their redesignation as a national school to watch. That'll be June 21st through the 24th. They're using their staff development travel general funds to do this, but since it is general fund, according to board policy, it does require a board approval. My recommendation would be the board allow Fulmer to travel to Washington, D.C. using their general fund travel money.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of administration for the out-of-state personnel travel using general fund money.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Brown, and a second by Mr. Giles. Any discussion?
How many people will be going?
I'm not certain.
I don't know either. Sorry, I'm Mrs. Correa. I was down in Jacksonville, Florida at USC conference, and I'll answer any other questions you have. I can tell you that National Schools to Watch is a program where we can learn about other people and what they're doing in California, Texas, as far as being excellent development, responsive, academic excellence towards our middle school students. It's an opportunity for us in Lexington to show what we're doing in our schools. So it's an opportunity for us to share with the country what we're doing here, and it's an opportunity for the country to share with us. And we come back and we try to bring it back to all the middle schools here at Lexington too, and not just at Fulmer.
Ms. Kessler, I will call Ms. Pereira in the morning and get you an answer.
I just hope a person from each department, so use an opportunity to
Yes.
discuss their curriculum.
We all try to do that as far as like we want to do one per grade level elective teacher, and we try to spread it around every year. It's a 3-year process, so we try to do that as far as to get as many stakeholders as possible involved in this process, and not just a small few. Because
Jonathan,
everyone's
administrative tip, they vote on it. They'd like one from each department.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. And a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have a similar situation in Dr. Cooper's department, and I will let her, since she's on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and Dr. James. Not so much because of general funds, because we use very, very small percentage. We travel primarily with grant money. But this year, as you know, we're well into our recruitment season, and we targeted some out-of-state travel, which we've not always been able to do in order to meet bigger populations of trained educators. So we are planning to travel to UNC Charlotte Education Fair on March the 23rd, the 2018 Pittsburgh Education Recruitment Consortium Education Job Fair on March 28th, Kent State Teacher Employment Day on April 9th, and Northeast Ohio Teacher Education Day in Akron, Ohio, on April the 10th. Mr. Smoke and one member of our support staff will go to both of the out-of-state events because they are very large. So the administration requests your approval of this out-of-state travel request for the purpose of recruiting teachers. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation for the coordinator of evaluation and effectiveness' travel for recruitment and his staff member.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Brown, a second by Mr. John. Any discussion?
Dr. Cooper, how did y'all identify the out-of-state ones as far as where to go? I've heard about a couple of these just from friends that are principals like out of state that recruit.
That's a great question. We get information nationwide on all teacher ed fairs, not just local, state, or regional, but nationwide. And we study the availability of educators they have and their certification areas and compare that to what we have. While we do that, while we always look back to see where we've been and, return on our investment, we might have been places that we choose not to go this year because there was no impact. But these events are very large events, and we know that it will be worth our time, money, and we know that we will attract educators to bring back. That's how we decided on those.
Very good. I have a friend that's a North Carolina principal that attends, I believe, the Pennsylvania one.
It's
He
been a big
mentioned that
deal
he
for a
attends
long
every
time.
year and has been very successful and improved teachers, so good luck.
Any further questions? All right, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the travel for improvement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is consideration request for out-of-state and overnight student travel for the BC High School DECA students and the Airport High School Special Olympics students.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion on behalf of Mr. Hinton that we approve the consideration request for out-of-state overnight travel, and we ratify the Brooklyn Casey DECA students who have already gone and approved the Airport High School Special Ed students travel.
Okay, we have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second by Ms. Kessler. All those, any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we move to administrative divisional reports. First up is the superintendent's report with regard to the advanced ed findings. I know you're happy to talk about this.
I'm absolutely delighted. And Rob actually let me hold his little clicker, so this is a big day for me to get to play with it.
A boy from California gets to run electronics.
How about that?
He still has the controlment over there, he's just letting you.
That's right, it's got no battery. There's nothing that I can do with this except just put no battery whatsoever. Thank you, Mr. Bingham. We now have 2 red lights and cowmen, so we do know what electronics are. This was an absolute great visit. It looked like it was going to derail. I actually thought we were going to have to get Marcella counseling. She had talked for a long period of time with the person who was going to be our chair. Unfortunately, his mom passed away right at the beginning of them gathering up to come here. We got a lady coming out of Wyoming that knew nothing about the plan, knew nothing about Lexington 2. All she knew was about advanced ed. Flew in, decided she was going to change the entire schedule. Marcella was melting down like chocolate in the summertime. I mean, it was just absolutely awful. So, but anyway, we got an oral exit review report. They sat and talked with me for about an hour, talked to the members of the cabinet for about an hour, and it was absolutely wonderful. I told you didn't give him battery. Advanced Ed, as you know, they're a global leader in providing continuous improvement and accreditation services. Over 32,000 institutions, 20 million students worldwide. So this is a big deal to have them accredit our school system. An international protocol for institutions that are committed to systematic improvement, sustainable improvement, not just something works this year, maybe it'll work next year. Their focus is building capacity in the institution to improve student learning and sustain that student learning, stimulating and improving effectiveness and efficiency throughout the entire institution, not one school here or one department there, but throughout the entire system. They have a diagnostic guide. Basically what they're looking for is leadership capacity, learning capacity, and resource capacity, which if you break schooling down, that's what it's about. Do we have good leadership? Are we learning? And do we have the resources to do the things we need? Accreditation is pivotal to the leveraging education quality and continuous improvement. If we don't ever have anybody looking at us and keeping score, we can't say that we're continuing to improve. The role of the team, when they came here, we had a group of folks that you all met that were from all over the country. They gathered firsthand evidence. A lot of the evidence they looked at is all the reports that Marcella and her team has been bringing to the board month after month, and data that they've been collecting. This group of folks had unbelievable amounts of data, test scores, programs. As a matter of fact, the lady told me that she watched every board meeting on video for a year. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I knew she had was the fact that she asked me if the high school seniors got their lunch Friday off, because one of the board meetings that she had watched was when the two high school student body presidents came here. So that was part of it. A lot of firsthand information that they were gathering on how do we do things, how do we perform. They're using standards to assess the quality of learning environments, to gain insight, and figure out what we need to do better, how we can improve teaching and learning. And primarily their focus is about learning. And finally, give us feedback that will help us focus on what we need to do to improve. The group reminded us that as a group, they had 222 years of education experience. So they wanted to make sure that they impressed on us that we're not a novice at evaluating schools. They took stakeholder inputs through interviews and polls, interviewed 6 board members, me, 47 administrators, 54 instructional staff, 1 support person. I have no earthly idea who that is. Everybody we've shown this to said 1 support person. Who is that? What was that? I think they walked into somebody in the hall in one of the schools and talked to them. 56 students, but right here is a really big issue for Lexington to be proud of. 72 parents and community members came to talk to them. That group said, as a group, it is the most parent community folks they have ever had. Only 9 people did not come, and all of them had more than a legitimate reason. It was outstanding, the number of folks we had come from the community. 207. That's an important number to remember, because there's something else that I'm real proud of. First, they looked at our current reality. They didn't want us to think that they didn't understand where we are, and I don't want to tell you all things you already know, but our demographics are changing, not only in Lexington too, but in South Carolina. New leaders, new frameworks, new protocol. They understand change doesn't happen overnight. Change that is significant change takes place over time, takes place with buying. They understand that we've got pressure from the bond projects to get those done, and that adds another dimension into it. Also, South Carolina is its own unique situation. We've got a new test. We get a new test, it seems like, every time somebody comes up with one, they rebid. Morgan's laughing, it's true, but they rebid, we get another test. Teachers trying to figure out what it is that kids are going to be tested on. It's a new format this year. Morgan has given you an update, and you need a statistician just to figure out the format. And then there has been a pause in report cards for the last 4 years. This year we'll get a report card, but we'll get a report card based on a format that we have never used before and a test we've never taken before. So all that to say, they said they understood. This is where the 207 is important. For those of you that want to know my technology background, this is called a Word. All my folks are surprised I knew what that was. Out of those 207 people, all of you included, they asked them to give them one word that described the district. Out of 207 responses, that's indicative of 206. Every word that you see there is very, very positive. The more often the word was used, the bigger the type. There's some pretty big words there that are some pretty positive words. The reason you have 206 is there was only one semi-negative response. That word was frustrating. They didn't add frustrating because it was only used one time, and out of 207 responses, that's 206, and every one of them is something we can be proud of, in my opinion, for what we're doing for kids. Did you find something up there?
I want to see if his word was up there.
Oh.
My word was up there.
I believe if you said it and it wasn't frustrating, I believe it's If you said frustrating Mr. Key, I'm glad your words up there. I would have thought it might have been frustrating. What did they find? Their key findings were, if you'd asked us, I think our folks would have said exactly what they said. Significant strengths. I'm sorry, Ms. Kessler. I try, but I am what I am. Randy's, he's turned, I don't believe his word's really there.
For his defense, he told me his words, and his word is up there.
All right. I don't know about all that, but I'm going to take the word for it. Their findings, we have a collective commitment to purpose and direction. That's absolutely crucial. We're trying to build a culture here that's based on learning, and it's absolutely crucial that we have that collective commitment, and they found that. Instructional leadership, they were very excited about the instructional leadership throughout the district. The capacity for continuous improvement and the involvement and the support of our stakeholders. Those are some huge, huge findings that are very significant strengths for us. I'm proud of them, and I know the board is. Things for improvement. What can we do better is the easy way, and I think everybody in the curriculum department would have said that. We've got a list of non-negotiables. That hasn't always been at the forefront. We've had them in our little book, and we hadn't always, non-negotiable hadn't always meant non-negotiable. It's beginning to mean if it says it's non-negotiable, we believe it, it's non-negotiable. One of the things they felt like is we need more walkthroughs in classrooms by our principals. We need more data collection by our committees to deal in best practice instruction and student mentoring. We're doing some good things with the student mentoring, but we aren't where we need to be. And I would dare say that in this particular time, what's going on in schools, that's more valuable than ever before. That's the small snippet. They have 45 days to give us a full report, but I am more than excited and absolutely more proud than I can tell you of our instructional staff, our schools. I got teachers that are mad because they didn't visit their classrooms. We can't ask for more than that. When you want somebody from out of state to visit your classroom and you get mad because they didn't come, we're building a culture that this board wants, and I appreciate that. So, any questions, I'll try to answer them. If not, I got a whole little group of folks there that probably can't. Good deal. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to y'all.
And you see Rob turned it off, this had answer. Thank you, Rob.
Next up, well, we got instruction, the Lexington 2 intervention support. I think you said Dr. Hayward Evans would.
I would like for Dr. Hayward Evans to be able to do that for you. As I've told the board, she has an extremely sick child, and so if we could just postpone that to our next meeting, I would appreciate it. Marcella's worked really hard on that. I probably would not do as well as she, but certainly we don't want to steal her thunder.
Okay, so we move to the finance for the monthly financial reports.
Yes, thank you very much. I have for you the February financials. In your packet, the February is not reflective of the county tax revenue. We did not receive that at the time of printing when we mailed or sent your packets to you. I did put a revised revenue sheet at your place that does reflect that we received those amounts today, which was roughly around a little over $5 million, the bulk of which was in, and this does not reflect it either, but you have one, 4.3 million in our fee and lieu, and 500,000 in property operations and delinquent. Be happy to answer any other questions. That brings our total up to 73.53% for the current year, with the amount received, much more reflective of the prior year and what's reflected up there. I don't have any questions. We'll move on to the expenditures. Be happy to answer any questions. And then next, the referendum expenditures. I'll be happy to answer any questions there. That's all I have on the financial report.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Richardson. Without objection, the monthly financial reports will stand approved as presented. Okay.
Next,
Budget update.
on the budget update, I don't have anything different to report from last month. House budget reflects House Ways and Means, which basically was no increase in the base student cost. We have a 7.4% increase in employee benefits, a 1% increase in retirement. Those are set, by the retirement, the 1% last year for the next several years. They also have in place a 2% increase on the teacher salary schedule. So now we'll wait to see what Senate Finance does. They'll be meeting the week of the 20th next week, I guess. So we'll kind of wait to see. We'll hope to have those numbers for Senate Finance before the budget work session. So we'll have a little more.
Did you just say it was a 7%?
7.4% increase in health insurance. Yes.
What impact does that, how much does that equate to?
I don't know yet. I'll have that at the budget workshop.
So it's a 7% increase of the portion.
For half a year, for January, starting January 19 through June. So it'll be half a year at the 7.4% increase, yes.
But then after that, it's the full 7.4%.
Right. Right. So yes, I'll have more numbers for you at that March the 29th meeting. On another note, the governor did sign the 1-cent sales tax for Lexington County on the 13th of this week. So that has been extended for 7 more years. So that was very good news. Taxpayers, that is a credit on the tax bill for debt service. That's all I have for budget update.
That means that now there won't be anything on, there won't be a referendum.
Right, right, yes, it was just extended.
Next up is Administration Student Services Construction Update. Mr. Eisenhower.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have in your packet the latest construction update information that we have. And I want to, commend Kay Joseph because she has helped me tremendously by she started posting construction updates online again. Unfortunately, there's been more work than we could get done in a lot of hours, and Ms. Joseph is a very dedicated employee, and just said that, she would take that off my plate, and she has done a fantastic job of getting those posted in the last couple of days. So, Ms. Joseph, I want to publicly thank you for that. Also, Mr. Chair, I want to preface my upcoming comments by saying that it's not my issue, it's not my goal to create an issue for anybody here in the things that I'm getting ready to say. In fact, my goal is to try to avoid issues with regard to the Broken Casey Arena that's currently under construction. We made some decisions before we put this out to bid that we were going to make a few modifications to what the architect presented. One of the decisions that we made was that there was a in the design there were the collapsible portable goals that had to roll away and be stored somewhere in the facility when they were not in use. The logic that I used to basically value engineer those out was that, number one, I was concerned about the storage that was available in the facility even with retractable goals and not having to place those goals somewhere. I was also concerned because we have a set of bleachers that are behind one of those goals that people, in my opinion, would be hesitant to sit at because they would have, the viewing would not be as good as elsewhere in the facility. I was basically notified last week that the conversation came up with the architect that we needed to go back and put floor plates in, that there was discussion that these collapsible goals would be somebody wanted to put back in. And I'm just going to tell you that that concerns me. If we're going to put those goals back in, then I have concerns about storage in this facility. If we're not going to put the goals back in, then I'm concerned about putting floor plates 15 feet behind a goal that students could, or players could potentially slide into through the years. And I know when they first install, they're recessed and they're pretty safe. But after you go through a few years of refinishing the floor and that sort of thing, sometimes those things will stick up just a little bit. And if you've ever coached and you've seen a kid slide into some of those, you know that they can do damage to knees, and I mean they can cut someone's leg up pretty good. My whole point here is I guess I have a sense of frustration in that there are things that are being done in this facility that were beyond my control. And I'm concerned. I don't want to contribute, I guess, to creating any inequities between the two high schools. There's some things that are designed into this facility that we can go back and do at airport, which I think we should. One being there's a design for turf to be placed outside of the weight room. I've had Mr. Cease to go back and look, and at airport we can do that if that's the desire of the board. My whole thing here is I don't want you to ever think that I've tried to mislead you in what's going into this facility. I'm happy to talk to you about it. There's also turf that's designed to go in the center of the weight room, which creates an inequity to what we just did at airport. Obviously, the board makes the final decisions on what we do, but I'm feeling guilty because I haven't brought these things to your attention already. And, you know, I'm not asking you to vote on anything. Basically, I'm just making you aware that unless I'm advised otherwise, I'm going to continue to go with these goals that retract from the city. We're going to take out the turf inside the weight room, and we will look at installing the turf outside both weight rooms, in all fairness to both schools. Now, again, if you guys tell me otherwise, I will do whatever you guys tell me to do. But as of right now, you've hired me to make those types of decisions. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the decisions that are being made.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask that we have this discussion in 2 weeks when we're having a larger, I think, overall discussion about bond referendum projects, and we discuss all of that, because I mean, I think you're right. I think there's some misunderstanding about what things are being cut and have been cut between the board and, you know, the administration or whatever. I think we would like to know that on a lot of things. So I would hope that we can maybe discuss this more fully, specifically during the workshop when everybody's present.
I do think that once something's presented from this board, no one has the right to change it. And I'd like to know where the change is coming from, if it had been approved through you.
Who authorized the change? our architect shouldn't be listening to anybody but you. So if we've got a problem, we need to resolve it. I don't care when we do it, but if we've got 4 or 5 dictators telling them what to do, they shouldn't be listening. Architects need to listen to you and you only, and you need to listen to us.
No, I'll disagree with that a little bit. The architect does need to take into consideration the schools that they're working with and get input from those stakeholders. It ultimately
Well,
is
that's
up,
what his job was.
it's ultimately up to
But
Don
not to
and
make
us.
changes.
No, I understand that, but it's ultimately up to Don and the board to make the decision. But the architects should certainly be talking to principals and ADs and whatever to get their input.
But not to make changes.
No, I understand.
Right, not to make changes.
But Ms. Kelsworth, I think the change that's being made that we're just now finding out about is that they're taking these things out. I mean, I think that's what Don just said, is he's now telling us that he had made some decisions to value engineer some things out that this board didn't necessarily know were being value engineered out. I don't think that any of us were told that as a board, that we've got these things are being value engineered out. I appreciate him telling us that, and I think I would like to discuss that further as a board at our construction meeting.
I think the workshop would be very good to get some more details on the advantages, disadvantages, why we're picking one over the other, that kind of thing. So I'd certainly like to have some more information on it.
With that off my chest, I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all might have with regard to the construction update.
Are you okay with waiting till the?
Yes, ma'am.
workshop?
I've got a couple from them.
Let me ask this question so I make sure I heard what you said clearly. The value engineering, was it done prior to us getting a price from?
Yes, sir.
So what you're saying you're gonna do is what's in the price that we've already approved.
Yes, sir.
So the other stuff, to do any of the other stuff is gonna mean we got to pay extra for it.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple comments concerning construction updates. And perhaps this is a request, but since Airport High School is on here, I was at a ball game on this past week and noticed 3 vehicles completely pulled over onto the sodded grass that was put in front of the old eagle's nest. And they were there the entire time. That's going to be worn out. We've already had vehicles or trucks, construction trucks, go over some of the curbs and have ruts in those facilities. But if we don't keep people off of that sodded grass, by the end of the season, it won't be there.
It's already worn considerably from traffic being parked on.
And then sidewalks that go from the road there across from the stadium, between the stadium and the old Eagles Nest, several of the blocks of the sidewalk are out. So when they finish that construction and finish the baseball, will that sidewalk be replaced?
I think it was cut for fire lanes.
Yes,
Yes.
it will be replaced.
I'm not sure I understand
There
exactly.
are a lot of, like 5 feet here, and then you go a
It's,
couple more, 5
yes,
4 feet.
it's where we had to replace an old sewer line up under the sidewalk. And yes, it's replaced, we just put stone there until we could get
Okay.
working out from it.
And then Brooklyn Casey, for years, I have really had issue and made complaints about the ugly fence lines, and that no one was taking pride in cleaning that facility up. And there were a group of B-team fathers, particularly led by one father, and a couple of the B-team baseball coaches that have come in. And if you haven't ridden by Brooklyn Casey's baseball field, please do. It is gorgeous. They've taken down all that trash out of the fence line. They've completely cleaned that out. And I was told it was done by, not at the cage, on the baseball field. I was told, and I just didn't get the name of the gentleman that's primarily responsible for that. But
I'm not sure I understand what the cage is.
the cage is the old football
Football.
All of that was done by your guys, was it not?
My guys removed all that yellow jasmine from the softball field, that whole area there. I'm not sure if the construction company did the part in front of the baseball. Y'all did? Yeah, the construction took the yellow jasmine off the baseball side. My guys took the stuff on the softball side and the football side.
I know
And
for
the
a
cage.
fact, that's Kessler's right.
And the cage, yes.
She's right, there's some there's
There are
some
B-team
parents.
baseball parents did it, that would like for the district to at least get those names and send them a letter thanking them for it making huge improvements on that song. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And I'm very pleased to see that down by the caves, that those fence lines, I wish they had scraped that before they put in those fence posts, but that's another issue. But it is going to make that campus look so much better. And it has been a problem for, yeah, decades. Yeah, some of them were born, but anyway. This guess we're not you. School's not that old.
Are we getting any closer on the fencing at airport, getting that resolved, the security?
No. Basically, what we've done is we've asked Mr. Cease and Jump Carter Cease to help us to come up with ways to secure that campus. So we're looking at several things: perimeter fencing. We're looking at the possibility of breezeways, enclosing breezeways. Both airport and Brooke and Casey High School are going to be difficult campuses to secure without going with some perimeter fencing. Would you agree with that, Mr. Cease?
Because we still have some open doors there that anybody just walk in.
And
See, Dr. Bill, I'm over what
And fences to the new stadiums and new facilities are still being left open. Wide open, you could drive a four-wheeler through on both campuses.
Right on the fence.
Is that it?
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item up is executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the Board of Trustees enter closed session for the following: discussion of personnel matters, consideration of personnel appointments and reappointments, and resignations. For the consideration of a student expulsion appeal, for the discussion of property matters, and for the discussion of contractual matters.
We have a motion, do I have a second? With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. We are now in executive session.